Okay, hi everyone. My name is Jade, and I'm a junior journalism and communication major at UNH, and I interned at the Ground Truth Project this semester. I also had the opportunity to live here in the city among my peers, and if you've ever been to Austin, you should know of one of its most famous inhabitants. And much to my excitement, they actually live quite close to the student housing. The famous individual that I'm referring to is the Rats of Austin. Shockingly huge, and before you see them, you hear them, which I personally think is the most terrifying thing about them. And the sidewalk right outside my apartment also happened to be the home of many of these guys, who commonly hid under cars and scrambled out as you walked past, which typically ended with my friend and I screaming and running away late at night. As someone who is quite calm and collected most of the time, this may come as a surprise picturing me screaming down the sidewalk. But sometimes when you're in a situation that's unfamiliar to you, your initial gut reaction might be to yell, hold on to someone nearby, and start running away. And this feeling, though not quite as extravagant, was how I felt multiple times during my stay here. The first time was on my first day here. I was very excited as my mom and I made the drive, not even 20 minutes away, to the apartments and began unloading. And as I was setting up my room, building my wardrobe, because I learned that there's no closet, and decorating my walls with posters, it stayed great until the busyness began to die down and it became quiet. And then I was alone, and that's when everything started to hit me. I felt like I was missing out on things with my friends back at school. What if I didn't like my new job? And what if I didn't make any solid connections here? Would it be a waste of my semester and a risk that I took with no payoff? Ultimately, these are all scary things to think about, and it's not that I wasn't looking at all the positives either, but the potential negatives started to feel very overwhelming. After launch week, I started the first day at my new internship. I would be working as an editorial fellow at the Ground Truth Project, which is a journalism organization that supports early career journalists in local news worldwide. I felt right off the bat that with a mission statement like that, the work I would be doing here was going to be important, and it was. One of the things I did was write weekly informational newsletters that would be sent out to over 6,000 people on a mailing list. But even before knowing the scope of how many people had access to this, I pressured myself to do well. I wanted to write at a professional level, and I knew that it needed to be up to the standards of the organization. My mentor was instrumental in helping me learn how to do this along the way. And in the beginning, it was really hard. But through my mentor's guidance, I was able to develop a deeper understanding of what is considered newsworthy, how to make my writing more concise, and how to write productively with a deadline. Eventually, I felt much more confident in my abilities, both in the workplace, in the classroom, and in Austin as I gained friends and a connection to the town. And ultimately, throughout my experience, there were times that I did want to run away. And a couple of times, I did go home, partially because I also needed to do my laundry, but I always came back. And oddly, it kind of reminds me of the rats that live here too. They're always running, they've always got something to do, and sometimes you think they're gone, but they never really are because they might just be hiding under a dumpster. They're scrappy, resourceful, and always determined to go after what they want. And I don't think that's such a bad thing to be like an Austin rat.